Okay, homework and memory unit 4, lesson 1 for tonight's homework. Looking at the homework side first, as we see, hopefully we notice a pattern in the zeros that are in each number in one of the factors when multiplying. So let's look at number 1, 2, 3, and 4 as our example and see if we can see some patterns with the zeros. So number 1, we have 40 times 2. Okay, 40 times 2. Now if we go 2 times 0, we know that's 0. And then 2 into the 4, so we went 2 into the 1 in 1's place, which was a 0, and then the 2 into the 10's place, which is a 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. Another way to look at this is if you cover up that 0, acting like this is not there, and then 4 times 2 is 8, and then you just add that 1 0 on the bottom, which gives you the same answer of 80. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 is not 40, but it's 400. So there's one more extra 0 times the second factor of 2 still. So yeah, we can go through and say 0 times 0 is, or 0 times 2 is 0, and 0 times 2 is 0 again, because anything times 0 is 0. And then 4 times 2 is 8, and we get 800. We notice there is one extra 0 in 800 than 80. There is one extra 0 in 400 than the 40. So once again, we could cover up our zeros and say, what's 4 times 2? Well, that's 8. And then we just add these two zeros back, and we get our product of 800. Okay, number 3. Number 3, 400 times 20. 400 times 20. You can do the same trick. Let's try the shortcut. Cover up all 3 of the zeros. So put your hand or finger over these. You're seeing the laser pointer on their screen covering these 3 zeros. Cover these 3 zeros and just multiply the numbers 4 times 2, which will give you 8. And then those 3 zeros you were covering, add those back to the end of the 8, and you have 8,000. So 400 times 20 is 8,000. You see again we're adding an extra 0. So we had 1 0 in 40, or in 80, 2 zeros in 800, and 3 zeros in 8,000. Let's try the last one in that first row, number 4. 4,000 times 2. Well, let's try it again. Cover up those zeros. Cover up your 3 zeros, and 4 times 2 is 8. So you should have the same answer as number 3 for number 4, 8,000. There are some story problems here. You're doing the same type of math, multiplication of whole numbers. So hopefully this is pretty easy for you to see the pattern of the zeros and how to solve. Let's look at the remembering side on a couple of those problems. I just want to look at number 1 on the remembering side with the directions say write the multiplier or divisor for each pair of equivalent fractions. So looking at number 1, it's 4/5 is equal to 12/15. So they're asking for the multiplier. What they're asking is how'd you go from 5 to 15 and how'd you get from 4 to 12? The multiplier should be the same for the denominator and for the numerator. So 5 times what? 5 times what gives you 15, and 4 times what gives you 12? So we know 5 times 3 gives us 15, and 4 times 3 gives us 12. So what's the multiplier? Well, what are we multiplying by? We're multiplying by 3. So that's our multiplier. The same thing goes for division. So on number 2, when it's asking for the divisor, you're just dividing across to get to the new numerator and the new denominator. Not too challenging. Hopefully these help you. Let me know if you have any questions to comment on the website or send me an email. Have a good night.